What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Thursday in the first show of 2025. Welcome, everybody, to 2025. Hope everybody had a great New Year's Eve, New Year's Day experience. Going to have a great show today talking about what the Titans are going to flush in 2024 and move on and get better and improve upon in 2025 in the new year. We did just get some news across the NFL when it comes to the Pro Bowl rosters that came out and how the Titans landed with the Pro Bowl voting and the rosters and all that. We'll get to that here in a few minutes after the official intro, but we're going to go through and give our 2025 New Year's resolutions. And I'm curious to see what Sam is going to have because I've got something more like football related. Sam has something more big picture that I am very curious about. And we're going to have a conversation about our New Year's resolutions for the Titans. We're going to ask you guys what your New Year's resolution will be for this Titans organization. So start getting the brain going there and start thinking about what you would have be the Titans' New Year's resolution as we get into the new year. And then we'll talk a little college football playoff because as Jeff right there, let's go Bucks. I mean, I just took out a loan to put all of it on the Ohio State Buckeyes who win the national championship in that first quarter against Oregon last night. And man, what a team that's looking like right now. But we'll talk about the college football playoff and maybe one thing we might change if we could have the power to change it in the playoff. And because it's a Thursday, we're just going to do trivia. We're going to do maybe we got some changes coming maybe at the end of the show on Thursdays here moving forward. But Sam, welcome in. Hope you had a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. First show of 2025 and a lot of resolutions to talk about here. So before we get into it, everybody watching at home, make sure you share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. Watching on YouTube, take the YouTube link, send it to a friend, a Titans fan in your life, to a Titans group chat, a family group chat, whatever group chat it is. Get the word out there that A to Z Sports is live, is coming with all those New Year's resolutions for the Tennessee Titans. And you can even repost us on the Twitter X timeline as well to help get out the word. Share the show and leave a like on the show, a big thumbs up before we get into it and kick it off on a Thursday morning.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Gathering our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. The region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, fbhp.com/ATOZ for a health coverage quote today. And T.O.T trying to clean up our roadways and keep Tennessee beautiful by visiting NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, again, hope everybody had a great, safe New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as we kick into 2025. That's good. It's always hard to say the new year at the very beginning of the new year. And, you know, you have to flip your brains into that mode. But just before the show came out, the Pro Bowl rosters were announced across the NFL. And Sam, no Titans. Made the Pro Bowl. Surprise? Not surprise? No Titans?
No surprise. Gave it a quick once over. I'd have to look at it again. But biggest snub, I think, from the initial Pro Bowl roster, where is Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield, like 40 touchdown passes this year and not on the Pro Bowl roster. So to me, that is the big snub of the whole thing.
If I were to have one snub, it would be Tony Pollard. You know, I
think he's the most deserving Titan of it. It's just a loaded NFC with running backs. I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs.
The AFC though.
Oh, duh. I was on Baker Mayfield. I was so into Baker Mayfield there.
No, Derrick Henry, obviously. Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I think Pollard should be in there over Mixon, probably.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. But anyway, Tony Pollard is an alternate. He is one of 4 Titans players who are Pro Bowl alternate. So he's probably going to be in the Pro Bowl at some point because that's how that works. The 4 alternate Titans are Tony Pollard, safety Amani Hooker, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, and punter Ryan Stonehouse. So I would guess probably 3 of the 4 are actually going to have a Pro Bowl next to their name because of how many alternates actually get involved in the Pro Bowl. That is my prediction.
That would be interesting. I mean, we'll see. I think, right, the Super Bowl has like huge effect on that. I'm wondering if more guys are going to be willing to do it since it's like this Pro Bowl games sort of a thing. If more guys are just going to want to go down and hang out and be part of that.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. All right, so let's dive into the show topic for today. And before we go into 2025 New Year's resolutions for this organization, because the list could be pretty long if you really wanted to get serious about all the things the Titans organization needs to fix and needs to get better at in this new year. Let's play a game. Let's just do one word. What's one word to describe the Titans 2024 calendar year? Not just the season, but the whole year in general, right? And the whole year started with Mike Vrabel as the head coach, beating the Jags, then firing Mike Vrabel, and then
a lot has
Brian
happened.
A lot
has happened in 2024. Yes. We saw the final game of Mike Vrabel. We saw the final game of Derrick Henry. We saw it come out as an upset win over the Jacksonville Jaguars that for a while looked like it maybe could have saved the Titans or saved jobs for some of the people on the Titans roster. We end up seeing Amy move on from Mike anyway, fires Mike Vrabel. They hire Brian Callahan. We have the whole free agency saga in which Derrick Henry leaves and goes to the Baltimore Ravens, but the Titans make some unexpected splashes with Calvin Ridley, with a trade for L'Jarius Sneed, with the signing of Tony Pollard. And all of a sudden, the Titans were one of the biggest spenders in the NFL. The NFL draft had a lot of drama attached to it as Tennessee was, rumored to be in contention for one of those top wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. Even a trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr. seemed feasible and fathomable for the longest time. They play it the safer route, but kind of go with an unexpected pick in the form of left tackle J.C. Latham, who they bring in and has an overall very productive rookie season for Tennessee. But regardless, the expectations coming into the year much higher than they were, as Will Levis thought he would ascend into the franchise quarterback that the Titans have been waiting for. Does not turn out that way. Levis goes through this roller coaster of up and downs that start and really a microcosm of his season in Chicago as turnovers end up being the straw that broke the camel's back, not just for the Titans in that game, not just for the Titans in a majority of games this season, but in Will Levis's tenure as the Titans starter. Now, as we enter 2025, the Titans are positioned with one of the top picks in the upcoming NFL draft, and with a loss, have a chance to replace Levis with the future of the regime in question.
Yeah, very good overview. I like that. So one word to describe the Titans 2024 calendar year. Darren just says miserable. Burning Devil says wild, unfathomable, coming in from Joshua. Whirlwind from Eric. Max saying underwhelming, disaster from Steven. And then we've got Jesse with rough, Darius roller coaster, IR just says fail, tumultuous coming from Andre, below mid from Richie, crap from Mike, garbage from Ashley, abysmal from Jeff, experimental from Greg. Interesting word from Greg, experimental. Lou Man comes in with collapsed. Derek just says gaslighting. My one word was oversold, and I thought gaslighting and oversold, Derek's is more aggressive than mine, but oversold is my one word because, I think to an extent, anybody who was at training camp covering the team was drinking Kool-Aid. I think you, Easton, and I all predicted this team to win 9 games. We all thought they'd miss the playoffs by winning 9 games, but we did not expect them to be working for the number 1 overall pick in the first weekend of 2025. But here we are, and I saw somebody said go Patriots because if the Pats win, then the Titans lose. They are the number 1 pick. They are the worst team in all of football. So oversold is my word. Sam, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to mine because my one word that I came up with was anticlimactic. It felt like there was a lot of things that I was excited to see about the Titans in 2024. There was a lot of buzz about, Calvin Ridley and the addition of L'Jarius Sneed with Cheeto Awuzie and what that could mean for the Titans defense and the development of Will Levis. And it felt like we were sort of building to the mountaintop, climbing up it at least. There was a ton of excitement about what a Brian Callahan offense would look like. And finally, the Titans have that innovative, new, modern offensive head coach that can scheme them up and dial up some points for them. Then we got to the regular season, and I will say it's not far off of what I predicted. But when we did our early season predictions, one of the things that I said that I think confused people or rubbed people the wrong way was saying this is going to be a run first offense. Hey, I know that we, you might have thought we did away with the run pass sort of style under Mike Vrabel, but that was what the Titans were doing well in the preseason, and they were not doing well pass protecting or throwing the ball down the field. And then we got here, and that's much of what it was. The Titans' really only offensive player that has been impressive has been Tony Pollard. The defense hasn't been together on the field for really any part of the season. It's just been pretty underwhelming and anticlimactic for what I felt like was a really, really hyped offseason. Like
Yeah.
I felt a lot of palpable buzz in the
Oh, yeah.
offseason, Austin, about what this team could potentially be and where they were going. And one of the more frustrating parts of the season for Titans fans, I'm sure, is you didn't even hit a point where you had some hype and some hope in the season. That Chicago game was as deflating as they come, and it was week 1. And you were one game into the season being like, our quarterback threw for 86 yards and turned the ball over 3 times, and our defense is hurt, and D-Hop is hurt. And
Yes.
okay, and like it never took off. And so it was a super a build for not much payoff.
Yes, 100% agree with all of that, right? And then you double down on the craziness with the Jets game in week 2 and you just make it even worse.
I mean, it's ultimately what I say, like, about any sports team ever that I root for is I'm like, just give me, especially if you're a team like the NFL is kind of a standalone. Nobody really cares about NHL or, NBA at this point in the year. So unless you have a college football team that is really carrying you through the fall, it's like, just get me to Thanksgiving. Like, get me to Thanksgiving with some meaningful football games that I can care about and get fired up about. And by then, like, maybe I'll have some other stuff to watch. Or get me to Christmas, better yet. Get me into the year with some hope. And there's nothing worse than when you get to the start of the season and you're about 1 or 2 weeks in and you're already like, all right, I'm ready for the draft. Like, I'm ready for next year. But that's kind of how it felt for the Titans.
Yeah, it's funny. Like this Titan season, like I don't know if you felt this way. If you're around like a social gathering, a holiday party, or like around family, and someone's like, "Oh, so hey, what'd you think about the Titans this year? Like, tell me your take on the Titans." You're like, "Okay, how much time we got? How deep do you want me to get into this thing? Like, do you want me to bring out the PowerPoint? Like, I could get the projector from the garage. Like, I mean, there's so many different layers and nuance and craziness. Like, are you sure you want me to go into this right now?"
Yeah.
Like that's the type of year.
Yeah, or I mean, it could also be the other opposite of that, where it's like, hey, how's it with the Titans? You're like, yeah, they're bad. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't want to get into it. They're bad.
Yeah, we don't want to do this right now.
And I would say, like, as fans don't ask for much. MB wants to know, like, did you feel the same way about the Bears? Not really, actually, but I mean, like, at some point, right? Yes, you hit a lull, but I would say, like, the Bears got me to Thanksgiving. The Bears started 4-2, and so you're sitting at Thanksgiving at like 4-5, and then you're like, is it good? No, but like you do have hope of caring for a couple of months, 2-3 months of the season where you're into it, and I think that's what we ask for. We just are like, hey, get me if you start 4-2, that means you're giving me 6 weeks of feeling like this team is good. You're giving me another 3 weeks of holding out hope. You're giving me some time to like be like, hey, maybe they'll figure it out, until eventually you give up inevitably. But unfortunately, the Titans didn't even do that much of a courtesy for their fans this year. It was just like a straight, hey, we're going to be bad. And people, I think, gave up pretty early on.
Yeah, and we're gonna be bad, and we didn't tell you for the
We
last
didn't
9
expect to be
months.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we didn't tell you like it would. Yeah, but it is bad, guys. So buckle up and just fight through it.
Well, and
But
the worst place to be as a team for a season is like bad without any key long-term assets
yeah,
that you can focus on. Like if you have a young quarterback and this is what I kind of have been writing about on A to Z Sports, where I've been anti-bridge quarterback. If the Titans were to have Shedeur Sanders next year and they were to go 5-12, it would be unfortunate to watch them losing games, but I would still be so stoked to watch the Titans play every week, because you have a young quarterback that you believe is the future that you can watch and stay glued to your TV for. You can't say the same thing about where the Titans were at this year, especially like once Levis went down after week 4, and then you're like, all right, so even if we win, it's Mason Rudolph leading us to a win, which what does that do for us long term as an organization? Nothing.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's ask everybody now. What is your top 2025 New Year's resolution for the Titans organization? What is your top 2025 New Year's resolution for the Titans organization? We'll get all of your thoughts in here as well. So make sure that you hit that like button, but also make sure you drop in your 2025 New Year's resolution. But first, let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans, fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you, help your family out, whatever your situation may be, to get your health coverage plan set up the right way for 2025 and beyond. So Farm Bureau Health Plans has been serving Tennesseans for 78 years and can do the same thing for you and continue to get you the best coverage, the right stuff, and for the right price, the right rates. And they can do that just like they have for all of Tennesseans for a long time. And their customer service is phenomenal. They can jump on the phone, jump on a Zoom, but get started with our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ for Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet misses. It's the sportsbook born in Vegas. So if you're betting, we got another college football playoff game coming on later tonight. So if you want to get in on the not the Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Use BetMGM. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up.
All right, so New Year's resolutions, 2025 New Year's resolutions. Sam, you want to go to the chat to start things off here?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot. The chat is very specific, very like one goal sort of oriented. We've got get a real quarterback from Curtis. We got find a QB, fire Ran from Lewis.
Okay.
Is the New Year's resolution. Don't suck in 2025. Easy enough. Fair enough, Jameson. Don't suck. Amy Adams to sell the team and fire everyone. Big goals for Darren, which he will. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Darren is not going to get his New Year's resolution.
No, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Let's see. We got lose on Sunday and draft Shedeur Sanders from Brock to finally get it right, says Andre. Probably
that's about as vague as it can be.
Probably regarding the quarterback position, but revamp the offense. Eric with a personal goal. I like this one. Not get excited in the offseason.
Okay.
Don't get excited. You want to hold yourself accountable, Eric.
Yeah.
Just don't get excited. Okay. We got get Travis Hunter. We said get rid of Ran. We said don't be the laughing stock of the NFL. Find a quarterback. Playoffs. Must find a right tackle. Another one, right tackle from Rooney. American Tough says resolution: if Amy fires one person, she fires all of them. Stop the half firing head coach GM. Keep the GM and head coach. Get us a quarterback. Go quarterback and solidify that right tackle position. Draft Emeka Egbuka from Jeff. Trust the process. So a lot of different goals, a lot of more specific goals than I think I would have.
I think
draft Abdul Carter, like a lot of draft this particular player, go do this particular thing.
Yeah, I think I'll start with mine because mine kind of aligns more with the chat, and then we'll get into where yours goes and maybe the discussion that yours creates. Mine is to find Brian Callahan the right quarterback to figure out if he is going to be able to make it work as a head coach. Because I think if I were to say in retrospect, and we kind of talked through this, is what is the resolution or the goal for 2024? It's find your answer on Will Levis. I think for me, it's find your answer on Brian Callahan. And I understand we talked about this, like it was earlier this week or last week, of if you keep Brian Callahan, commit to him through the next 3 years, right? And I'm still good with that. But I still also want to be able to find him a quarterback that he can do something with. Find him the right cerebral style quarterback that fits with Brian Callahan so you can actually build some momentum from the ground up. Have a good foundation of head coach and quarterback relationship. Because I just don't think that Levis is the right style quarterback for Brian Callahan. I think Levis was more of a good style quarterback for Mike Vrabel. It's we're just going to make it happen and go off vibes, right? And I think that's not what Brian Callahan wants. He wants the processor. He wants the guy who plays with quick timing, the guy who doesn't take all the crazy risks that Will Levis is just wired to make. So it's marry Brian Callahan with the right cerebral type of quarterback. And I'm not going to limit it to the draft. It could be free agency. It could be the draft. I'm going to keep it there. I'm not going to go too specific with it. So it's marry the right quarterback with Brian Callahan.
The chat's already dropping the ball, but
Chat's dropping the ball.
Well, I mean, take Ward. He's got it upstairs, and somebody else says nothing cerebral about Sanders. You've got those flipped, brother.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is the most cerebral quarterback in this draft, the most accurate, best processor, best timing, all of the things Brian Callahan loves. Shedeur Sanders has. Cam Ward, not as much. Cam Ward is your Will Levis type that's going to take the chances and throw the ball into
and not play on script, in structure. He's going to have the hero plays. Now, Cam Ward's a better prospect than Levis was.
Not by much.
Yes, he was like in the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
No, I mean by college statistics, sure. But if you were to look at his weighted accuracy percentage and how accurate of a thrower he is, he's in that Levis tier and ages below the other good quarterbacks from 2023 and ages below Shedeur Sanders, more importantly.
Yeah, 100%. So he's definitely a better prospect than Levis. So I'm not saying that, but he's not the right type of quarterback for Brian Callahan. If Brian Callahan is the head coach in 2025, Cam Ward will not be the Titans quarterback in 2025 or beyond. He will not be drafted. I don't think that's a good fit whatsoever. So what are your thoughts overall on my resolution?
Yeah, I think
I tried to go different than where you.
No, I think it's fair.
Right?
I think the thing I found interesting was the wording where you said find Brian Callahan, the quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it is on Brian Callahan to find that quarterback. So I guess who is your resolution for?
Just
Amy,
the whole
Duran,
damn team. It's like the Titans organization has to collectively get a quarterback, because find Brian Callahan the quarterback also brings, it's not just about draft, it could be free agency. So it's the whole collaborative effort. I saw somebody answered what's the one word for 2024? They used the word collaboration, but the whole collaborative effort to bring in the quarterback that fits what Brian Callahan needs to find out the answer on Brian Callahan as a head coach.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think, whatever you do at quarterback in this offseason, whether it's Sanders or Ward or a free agent or whatever, this is it's Brian Callahan's bet on himself. Whatever quarterback it is, I think this is the one that he is married to as Tennessee Titans head coach. And so I think it's a very important choice. I do think, like you said, it needs to not just be a guy that can come in and is a veteran that's played some football. It needs to be a guy that Brian Callahan is comfortable with committing his life as the head coach of this football team to. So I do think it is sound in that regard that whoever you get should be somebody that your coach is absolutely fully comfortable with and has some good rapport with.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. I don't take it too I don't want it to be too black and white of yes or no.
Sure.
Okay. Brian Callahan's head coaching life will be determined by this next Titans quarterback.
Yeah.
Is that more likely yes than it is no?
Definitely more likely yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think the same thing can be said about Ran Carthon too.
Sure.
I think you as a head coach or general manager in the NFL, you make or break your career based on your ability to scout, assess, develop the quarterback position, scheme around a quarterback. The guys who are in place for 10, 15, 20 years in the same job usually have something in common. It's a franchise quarterback that they are coaching in their job. And the ability to replace franchise quarterbacks with new franchise quarterbacks very quickly. I think
there's a lot of luck that comes into that at times too.
I think Amy is at this point, right? 2027 is the new stadium opening. That means you get 2 more seasons before you have to have a product on the field that she's excited about for the new stadium. I think that means, you really have 1 year if you're Brian Callahan and Ran Carthon to prove to Amy that you guys are the regime to get this thing done, that you guys are the coach GM combination that can build the Titans into a sustained winner. I think they do that this offseason, and I think that that's attached to what they do at quarterback. If they bring in Shedeur Sanders in the draft, I don't think they necessarily need to win 10, 9, 8 games. But if you go 6-11 next year with Sanders at quarterback and you show a lot and Sanders looks promising as the young QB, well, now all of a sudden you have a lot more buy-in in Callahan. You have a lot more buy-in in this group's ability to, make Sanders a franchise guy and help him. If you bring in a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins, or you go and you get your established veteran that has multiple Pro Bowl appearances, and that is the guy that Brian Callahan says, yep, this is my guy. There's no more development to be done there. And so if you don't win with that veteran, I think, you're probably toast. Okay. And if the quarterback looks bad, you're also probably toast.
So you answered my question how I expected it. And that I agree the same thing. You've got to be able to do something, whether it's the rookie or a veteran quarterback, for Brian Callahan to truly make it last, make it work. All right.
Yeah.
I want to let you get to your New Year's resolution. I do want to give you some props here because it's something that I didn't initially see. Great job on the thumbnail. I mean,
Thanks.
the whole 2024 with the jersey numbers going to 2025. I was like, dang, that was really clever. I don't even know who that 24 player is.
Had to do a rare thumbnail appearance for Julius Wood because the guy that you forgot that was on the roster.
That's not Elijah Bolden. Oh man. All right. So we'll get to Sam's New Year's resolution here in a second. That's going to go more big picture. But first, I want to tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to have the people you can fall back on, the people you can trust, and that is the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin, Tennessee, just off I-65 on Highway 96. They've got you covered right next to Williamson Medical Center. So easy to get to. They got all the experts, all the resources right there for you online when you need them. Book an appointment, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. It's the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. Get involved in the Sugar Bowl. Get in on the action. I'm in on the action with my first ever bet on an SEC team in the college football playoff because I'm on Georgia for the Sugar Bowl. But that's just my Notre Dame hatred coming in. I don't care. I'm biased and I'll own it. Bonus code ATOZ Sports when you get involved. And if your first bet misses, you get up to $1,500 back into your account in the form of a bonus bet for a second chance to win big with the sportsbook born in Vegas, betmgm.com.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk some college football here in a second. I did find it funny that somebody was like, "Who's Julius Wood?" And I asked Easton and Sam the same thing in like week 12.
He made a tackle on like special teams, and Austin comes in and goes, "Who's Julius Wood?" And I'm like, "Brother, he's been on the team all year." Like
I sit back like the Ron Burgundy. I don't believe you.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I don't.
That's not a name that I'm familiar
fake,
with at all.
Fake person. They just elevated him last week, right? All right. So your New Year's resolution for 2025 is what?
So coming from the context of I am the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
My New Year's resolution for myself as the Tennessee Titans, be patient. And that is what I'm looking to see out of the Titans this year. I know the stadium is coming. I know that you're itching to get back into your playoff ways and to excite this fan base. But Amy, Brian, what I'm telling you now is that it will only come if you wait. It will only come if you are patient. It's the best way to set up your organization for long-term success. So take Shedeur Sanders. I'm all for that. I love it, actually. Draft him. But if you don't win games in 2025, it is not the end of the world. It is not indicative of what, Sanders can be in the future or what Callahan can be in the future. What you have to do in order to get your organization aligned, headed the same direction, and do the thing that smart football teams do is remain patient. I do not want to see Sanders drafted and his head coach fired after 1 year. I do not want to see a rookie quarterback having to learn a new offense or have a new GM who then inherits a head coach and a quarterback. I'd like to see patience across the board. And if we can be patient, I think the Titans will finish 2025 much closer to a Super Bowl than they started it.
So patience was on my short list of resolutions. And I think, do you think Will Levis was negatively affected by the change at head coach and the change of offensive philosophy? Or would it have not mattered?
I'm not sure it would have mattered because I do think Callahan's offense is probably better for Levis than what he was. Maybe. I don't know.
I think Callahan's offense is better for the Tennessee Titans, worse for Levis.
Yeah, I do think it probably hurt Will then, now that I think about it. It's just a lot of football. I mean, think about where Levis was. Rich Scangarella at Kentucky, Liam Cohen at Kentucky, comes out, Tim Kelly with the Titans. Next year, Brian Callahan calling plays with the Titans.
Yep.
When you take these young quarterbacks and you put them through the gauntlet of 4 offenses and 4 play callers in 4 years, I mean, you're not really setting them up for success. You're not really giving them the kind of stability that you'd like to see. We see this over and over again with especially a guy like Levis who is unpolished, right? I mean, I think you can do this a little bit more with the high floor, high completion percentage, accurate football throwers that come out of college. But when you have a guy like Will Levis, who is such an athletic and athletic upside, arm talent, makes the wow plays, but really needs to have some of his imperfections polished. And then you don't give him consistency of what his objectives and goals are within an offense, I think it becomes very difficult for him to polish.
Yeah.
And I think that we saw that play out this year. And in general, it is a rule of me is that like consistency around young quarterbacks matters a ton, a ton, a ton. And you are far more likely. I mean, are there quarterbacks that can transcend that rule? Quarterbacks that it doesn't matter if the coaching around them is horrible or if they have no consistency and just prevail. Yes, but those are the generational quarterbacks that transcend those rules, and you don't often have those. And so if you have a guy that's anywhere in between, you're probably setting him up for disaster.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So be patient, and that is by allowing whatever the next quarterback. And you're going young quarterback. Like you wrote.
I think that's part of being patient. Drafting
Okay.
a young quarterback, right? It's tempting to go bring in Kirk Cousins or Matt Stafford, Callahan especially. Matt Stafford is going to be tempting if he's out there, right?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is not tempting to me. Derek Carr is not tempting to me. Aaron Rodgers is only tempting to me from a business perspective.
I'm saying from a coaching perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you are hungry to get this proven veteran quarter. I think Brian Callahan has been frustrated by the Titans quarterback play this year. I think it's something that's made him, made his life a lot more difficult and a lot harder. It would be very easy to go to Matthew Stafford, the 35-year-old guy that we know knows how to do it, that we knows his job, knows where to go with the ball, can process just like Callahan wants. He's worked with him in the past. It's comfortable, but is it better for the organization long term? The answer is no. It's just not. And so it is an example of Amy, Ran, Callahan. Everybody needs to understand that what's best is to go young. What's best is to stay patient. What's best is to try and develop, even if that means, your quarterback play in the year 2025 is going to be less polished and possibly worse than it would be with a proven veteran and future Hall of Famer like Matt Stafford. Mm-hmm. But, I ask myself one question. I said this on Titans at 2 earlier in the week. I ask myself one question when I think about what I believe the Titans should do at quarterback or, at a lot of different positions. Does this get you closer to a Super Bowl? In no way are you closer to a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford as your quarterback. In every way, you are closer with a young rookie. If you get the rookie right. But if you get the rookie right, it's the biggest step that you have to take as an organization. And getting that veteran is putting off trying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, getting a veteran makes you closer to drafting a rookie high than it is the Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably.
Especially the veterans that would be options in this offseason. Look, I think somebody, I don't know if they're salty or not, but I saw this comment coming in here from, where did it go? From Mike Bell. A to Z ain't said a thing about Sanders all year. Now we're all in. Now we're all deep on Shedeur Sanders. Like, look, no, I mean, we haven't had a reason to talk Shedeur Sanders up and
I never thought the Titans would be in a position to get Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, we've had so many comments from some of you guys that are the Sanders loading, right? Pistol Ramsey's commented Sanders loading just about 3 shows a week. And I'm like, I don't think they're not going to be in position for Shedeur Sanders. And now all of a sudden they are maybe. And we don't even know if they are. They are right now maybe. Because it's
starting to feel like a possibility for the first time.
But the Patriots could easily ruin that too, right? Like the whole thing from 2 drafts ago, the Titans really like CJ Stroud. The Titans want to go up to 3 to get CJ Stroud. Well, they probably did. And the reporting was that they did want to go up to 3 to get CJ Stroud. The problem was the Houston Texans were at 2 and they were going to take CJ Stroud the whole time and you were boxed out from it anyway. The only way you can guarantee yourself Shedeur Sanders is by having the number 1 pick, by the Titans losing Sunday, and then having the Patriots beat the Bills, which could happen because the Bills aren't playing for anything either. But that's it. Or the only other way you can guarantee yourself Shedeur Sanders is if you're the number 2 pick is to trade up with the Patriots to get Shedeur at number 1. And I don't know if that's something they want to do or not, but we'll find out. That's why we've got 4 months of draft conversation really starting just about now.
But I mean, like, I've been waiting for weeks for the Titans to mess this up or for something to go wrong where they're no longer in position to get their guy. And it was looking like that's where they were going to be. Like, they'd be sitting with the 5th pick in the draft, that they'd end up with Ward and Sanders going off the board in front of them, and that they would probably take the best player available, but not really have an answer for quarterback for 2025. I've had conversations with you, Austin, and Easton over the phone off the air where I'm just like, I have no freaking clue what they're going to do at quarterback. Like, there is no good option available to them because these veterans are not the answer. Keeping Levis for another year feels futile and pointless. You're not in a position to get a guy who's worth drafting at that spot. So I don't know what you do. And now, as we talked about earlier, if it was this week or last week, Austin, my one word, actually, this is what I said with Easton on the postgame show. My one word to describe the Titans' loss to the Jags was clarity, because now I finally feel like I have clarity about the absolute right path for the Titans, and I have conviction about it for the first time because the opportunity is there. So that is why we're talking about Shedeur Sanders now.
Oh, man. See, look, Troy says Sam and Austin, the veteran way is the only way the Titans can do it. Think about it. And we will talk about it a lot. Yankee says, unless the Titans like Cam Ward.
Could not disagree more, with Troy.
Yeah. And for Yanksty, like, they're not going to like Cam Ward more than Shedeur Sanders. Like, that's just.
I really don't think they will either.
They might like Cam Ward, okay, but they're going to love Shedeur a lot more. And damn it, Drew Aller, come on out, baby. Like, I want Drew Aller from Penn State to reconsider his decision just to make the draft way more interesting. Because I said this after the Big Ten championship game.
I mean, if they win the title, Drew Aller might say, I think my job is done at Penn State.
Yeah, my job is done here. James Franklin, good luck, because the backup just left for Missouri. Which is hilarious. I would love for James Franklin to get the raw end of a deal. That sounds great because he usually leaves at opportunistic times where he's at. All right, so let's get to some super chats before we get to some more college football talk, because I think the college football has been interesting as well. King VC came in with a super chat. Lock in, like the show. Lou Man, I call you to the stand regarding your 1-star review. Like the show. First of all, Sam, are you aware of the 1-star review gate?
I was informed of this earlier this year and got a good chuckle out of it. I'll just say that.
Toff says, Lou Man did A to Z a favor. After his 1-star review, they got a dozen 5 stars from the chat. Oh, Toff. A dozen is very short. Maybe quadruple that dozen. We have like 48 5-star reviews since Lou Man's 1-star review. So if you want to give us a 5-star Google review, we would absolutely love to have that. So do that for us, because that's been a fun little bit that we have committed to and has benefited the company completely. So 5-star review on Google. That sounds great. Nathan super chat. Amy selling the team to someone who cares to win. Amy cares to win, Nathan, and she's not going to sell.
That is the one thing that I will forever say. You cannot say Amy doesn't care. Amy cares. Amy wants to win. Do I agree with her decision making all the time? No. Do I think she can be a little too short-sighted, not patient, as my goal was for her this year? I do think she's guilty of that at times, but I do know she wants to win. And if you're a Titans fan, that is a good thing, because not every owner across professional sports is that way.
Yeah, they're just cashing checks, man. Cashing checks from all the broadcast rights money. Andre says, Conklin, Tannehill, 100 million, Landry money, AJ, Isaiah, Farley, Willis, Levis, consecutive drafts, all bad moves. This is what he means by finally getting it right. And look,
fair. I mean, there's a lot of bad moves there.
Yeah, but one of those moves was made by the current general manager, and that was Will Levis. Only one of them, right?
Also true.
And like John Robinson was great until it wasn't. And John Robinson was accurate to let Jack Conklin walk and not pay him $20 million a year to be your right tackle when you had Lawan playing Pro Bowl level left tackle for a lot of money. Brian Tannehill was correct to get the contract that he did. The wrong thing was restructuring it years later and making it abysmal in 2022 and 2023. Harold Landry was a well-deserved contract until the ACL tear. AJ, Isaiah, Farley, bad. You left Traylon Burks off of the list, Andre. But there's been a lot of bad, 100% on all that. All right, so let's ask this question. Let's switch gears a little bit. We do have trivia, so if you want to play trivia with us for the first time in 2025, hang tight. But we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk college football playoff because honestly, the college football world, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the sport that are bad, but the product on television, whether it's the games or even more so, the conversation about college football has never been more interesting. I'll say it that way. But I do want to ask this question to everybody. What would you change most about the college football playoff? So let that sit. What would you change most about the college football playoffs? And we'll get to that conversation here in a second. But T.O.T is out there trying to change our roadways and highways and take that litter off of the streets of Tennessee. Tennessee's a gorgeous state, and T.O.T's trying to keep Tennessee beautiful. And they spend a lot of money, $23 million every year, to clean up the litter on our roadways. 88 million pieces of litter are on our roadways right now, and we can all pitch in to help out T.O.T by joining their campaign of Nobody Trashes Tennessee. It's nobodytrashestennessee.com. It's a new year for new us, new resolutions, new ways to make our state, our communities better. And so check them out. Nobodytrashestennessee.com is where to help out.
Today's show is brought to you by BetMGM. This college football playoff is not done this week. We've got the Sugar Bowl coming up later today. If you want to get involved with BetMGM and using the bonus code ATOZ Sports for up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet misses with the sportsbook born in Vegas.
All right, so what would you change most about the college football playoff? Because I think there's an obvious answer here, but Sam, I honestly think that publicly college football has never been more interesting. I do think there's a lot of problems, and why I think it's interesting is because everybody's trying to figure out how to make the problems go away, how to improve the problems.
Sure.
But the fact about college football is the reason why the conversation is so good is because it can't be set up like the NFL. Like you can't just mathematically create tiebreakers that makes everything work out. There's too many teams, too many conferences, too many different priorities and different people making conversations separate from one another. So you can't just say NFL it up and have tie-breaking rules because it doesn't work that way. Nothing's created equal in college football. So what are you seeing from the chat about the biggest changes you can make from the playoff?
Yeah, I mean, wow, we've got kind of all over the place. Bowl games mean nothing now. Seeding and who gets the buys. The 5 seeds have a cakewalk. We need more spots. We need no automatic bids. Get rid of NIL. NIL is bad for college football.
That ain't happening.
We've got no automatic buy/bids for conference champions. They need to reseed after every round. They need to cut it down to 8 teams. Too many blowouts. I don't know if I agree with that because one of the blowouts is like the number 1 team in the country got blown out.
There are blowouts. Like go look at the average score differential in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Like there's not a ton of close games in the Super Bowl. AFC, NFC championship games are usually the better drama, close, tight-knit games. And I think blowouts are going to happen in the playoffs regardless. And my thoughts on going back to 2014 when Zach and I started A to Z Sports as a show, it was the first year of the playoff. Zach has always been pro expansion. I was very much hesitant on expansion because the amount of blowouts that happened in the semifinals and the college football playoffs and with 4 teams. And once I knew expansion was inevitable and it wasn't something I could fight against, I said, prepare yourself for bloodbaths in the first couple of years of 12-team playoff, because you have to open it up to let the talent spread out even more.
But it hasn't been that bad.
Because NIL and the transfer portal happened 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You had to have those two things happen before you could expand the playoffs. So it's already started to spread out. And now it's just because now Arizona State can say, yo, we can literally do this.
We went to overtime with Texas in the college football playoff and went
how many we talked about this going into last week of the regular season. Didn't we say 21 of the top 25 teams in the country had a path to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
So now you have so many programs and donor bases and board of trustees that are saying, hey, we can get a piece of this too. Let's invest the money into it because we have a path to do it. And so it's just going to take a couple more years for the parity to continue to spread out with talent, for there to be really good games across the board. So that's what I'd say about the blowouts. It was going to happen regardless.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, I don't know, we saw 3 games in this second round. The Boise State Penn State game was Penn State controlled the game. There was a couple scares though. Boise State pulled it within a field goal in the second half of that football game where you're kind of it became a football game in the third quarter. Texas, Arizona State, one of the best college football games I've ever watched. I mean, just in terms of stakes and back and forth and missed field goal, 4th and 13. Electric football game.
It was the perfect college football game, right?
Yeah.
You had college kickers make an appearance. You had bad play and unexpected mistakes because it's college athletes. And it's you can't script the college mistakes that are made in college sports just because of the moment being so big for a person aged 18 to 23 or whatever. And so Quinn Ewers was really bad. Quinn Ewers is the reason why Arizona State had a chance to stay in it. And then Quinn Ewers is also the reason why Texas was able to win it at the end too. It's kind of both and all wrapped up in one.
And obviously the Ohio State-Oregon game is a blowout, but I'm not sure that's a predicted blowout. Those two teams played in the regular season and it was an epic, it was 38-35, some sort of
30, I think.
Such a close down to the wire game between two top teams that, this time around Ohio State came out and played better football. But I don't think the blowouts are a pressing issue. I know where you're going to go. So why don't you go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Okay. This is 2-part. The one change that I would make right now is not eliminating conference champions from getting in the field. I'm okay with that.
Agreed.
I'm fine with the top 5 highest ranked conference
you
champions.
Need that in order you need that to expand to this idea of what we talked about, where all these other teams have a path.
Yeah,
right?
I'm okay with that. It's just seed it based on the rankings. That is how it needs to happen because it's so clear. And we're not even going to get, I think maybe today's game will give us a little bit of extra data because the 3 teams that got a bye week, slow start, got and lost, right? Arizona State made it interesting, but 2 of the 3 teams that had the bye that lost were
not top 4 rated teams.
Ranked behind the teams they lost to. So I don't really know, but the Georgia Notre Dame game will tell us something. So it's just got to be seeded based on the rankings. That is the best way to do it. And I know it would have given 2 SEC teams and 2 Big teams a bye, but I think that's where you get the best teams a chance to really play it out, because I'm going to go through this and go through what the bracket would have been in the first round games if it had been ranked or seeded based on rankings. Notre Dame at 5 would have played Clemson as 12, even though Clemson was ranked 16. They're still in, right? Notre Dame versus Clemson. I think that's a solid game, right? That's probably similar to what we got. Clemson was going to get beat by whoever. Then you'd have 6 Ohio State versus 11 seed Arizona State. Bama still gets the boot, and I'm all good with that. Then you've got 7 Tennessee versus 10 SMU. Now Tennessee probably wins that game. I'm biased and I get an opportunity to do more. Then you've got 8, 9 Indiana hosting Boise State. I think Indiana versus Boise State is a good, okay.
Good game for both programs that you didn't expect to be here.
Coin flip, right? And it's at Indiana. And so I think because the teams that are alive right now are the teams ranked 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And either 5 or 2 is going to lose today. And so and one lost because Ohio State is freaking the most talented team in the country. And I watched that game and I felt immediately better about the state of Tennessee's football program watching Oregon get completely dismantled and broken by the Ohio State Buckeyes in just the same amount of time that Tennessee did. Because Ohio State is a buzzsaw. They are ridiculously good. They figured it out. It clicked. I don't know why or what happened or why they had to lose to Michigan 13-10, but it was the best thing that ever happened to them because they got pissed off and they should win the national championship. I don't see anybody beating Ohio State right now. But for Tennessee, that sucks that Ohio State, Tennessee had to play that first round game. It sucks for Oregon. Oregon was the best team in the country all year, and their reward was getting maybe the second or third best team in the country coming to them as an 8 seed. That's not right. So seed it based on the rankings. That's how it should work.
I don't disagree with you. I think it should be seeded
because because then
However,
Oregon. Hold on, let me go further. Because then Oregon, the number 1 team in the country, Oregon then gets the winner of Indiana Boise State.
Yeah.
A 1 seed deserves
Which
that.
is deserved for an undefeated team. The only undefeated team in the country.
Yes. Absolutely.
I agree.
And then Penn State doesn't cakewalk its way to the semifinals against SMU and Boise State.
I have I agree, but then we have to get to my side of it.
Okay, that's cool.
So in addition to what you said, the one thing that I would change about college football playoff, enough with pretending like the SEC is above the rest of the league. Enough with pretending like SEC schedules are holier than thou, and that if you go 9-3 in the SEC, but you played an SEC schedule. You had to deal with Mississippi State and Arkansas. So therefore, your losses aren't bad. The Big Ten is bad. All these other conferences are bad. The Big Ten, this is now 2 straight years of college football being a Big Ten sport, not an SEC sport. The results are what the results are. Head to head, the Big Ten has mopped the floor. And you said on this very show and told me Penn State didn't have a chance to win the title. Ohio State didn't have a chance to win the title. Our boys over at the Big Orange podcast sat there and complained for an hour and a half about how Ohio State shouldn't be ranked above Tennessee. Guess what? Belt to you know what?
Yes.
Yes. And over and over and over again, Illinois beat precious South Carolina that wanted to be in. All of the Big Ten teams, all they're doing is coming in and saying, hey, your SEC. And honestly, I got worried about betting on Georgia because I sat here, went to bet on Georgia, and I'm like, Georgia should beat Notre Dame because I think Notre Dame sucks, but I think the SEC is overrated. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, and I'm still pumped on that. I'm still pumped on that. I just, this is what frustrates me about rankings-based college football, because we still have 90-year-old dudes sitting in their recliner who sit there and go, well, the SEC, they do it and they don't judge it based on what they watch with their eyes. And so if we're going to do it on rankings, which I agree with you that we should, we absolutely should do that. We also have to be able to remove bias, because Alabama proved 3-4 different times this year that they were not the 12th best team in the country, 11th best team in the country. We are fortunate that, the system that allowed the automatic bids forced Bama out of there because they proved once again in their bowl game that they had no business being in the college football playoff. They were able to be in the conversation off of name alone, not resume,
Alabama
not football.
this year. Like again, I agree with you on the Alabama stuff. One of my biggest points against the expansion was I didn't want a 3-loss team to have a chance to win a national championship. And I know you haven't been around for Zach and I's years and nearly a decade.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not mad at you for not wanting like expansion or whatever it is. But like Anthony says this, no preseason rankings. I kind of agree with that. I think that'd be great.
That just creates
I mean, it creates more drama when you're like, oh, it's number 1 versus number 2, and it's probably the 12th best team against the 25th best team, and we just don't know.
Somewhere. You know, which is why they don't do college football playoff rankings until November. So let's remember, AP rankings is what happens early. AP rankings don't affect the college football playoff any at all. And so it is a little different.
But I mean, it's just what frustrates me about it. Cause like we sat here and we talked about this. You like the idea of could so-and-so go through an SEC schedule? And I think the Big Ten has proved 2 years now. Yes. That if they are tasked with playing Tennessee, if they're tasked with playing Texas A&M, who lost in a bowl game to a Big Ten team.
Yeah, but bowl games, bowl games matters less than they ever have right now. First on every school situation is the bowl game.
Sure, absolutely. So like this is where we are. Why is a 9-3 Alabama and I'll hand up, there's a lot of bias here, but why is a 9-3 Alabama team number 11 and a 9-3 Illinois team is number 21? Because we downplay games that Illinois plays against Michigan, against Indiana, against Penn State.
Illinois lost to Indiana. Alabama beat Georgia.
Or Illinois didn't play Indiana, but they lost to Penn State. Sorry, I had that wrong. They lost to Penn State, but they beat Michigan when Michigan was ranked. They had 3 top 25 wins. They went through the Big Ten schedule. But the idea of, okay, you beat a 7-5 Minnesota team is like, okay, who cares? But then we celebrate beating a 7-5 Texas A&M team because they're Texas A&M, not Minnesota. When what we've seen now in these bowl games is that a 7-5 Big Ten team is just as dangerous as a 7-5 SEC team.
Well, I think I think a lot of this is recruiting rankings and talent and which is being spread out.
Sure.
But Texas A&M is one of the most talented teams in college football. They have to pull everything together. And that's been Texas A&M's problem since Johnny Manziel left, was making it all work cohesively. But they have so many guys that NFL teams are drooling over on both sides of the ball. Illinois doesn't, right? And so that's where 7-5. And look, I don't think a 9-3 in the SEC and a 9-3 in the Big Ten are automatically equal. I think you have to peel between the things, because I think the Big Ten with 18 teams, too many teams. There's a scheduling problem. I think 16 is too many teams. There's a scheduling problem. There's not enough times where the good teams play each other. And Indiana gets to play 9 Big Ten teams, and they play 7 of the worst 18 teams in the whole conference.
Sure.
And then 2 teams, they're 6th and 7th best.
Yeah. No, I look at it. I agree with you.
And Texas and Tennessee.
And I can hear the talent difference argument, but I mean, I'm forever kind of getting to beefs with sports fans about the idea of what is talent? What is a talented team? I can hear what you're saying, NFL prospects, right? But I don't believe, and I think you would agree, and I think sports fans that are intelligent would agree, having NFL prospects does not equal a good team. No. And so, obviously, right, there's so many aspects that go into what is a good team.
Yeah.
And what I get frustrated with when we look at rankings and we look at a college sport that is so opinion-based all the time is that we base more on history, right? Because even something like recruiting rankings is based on judgment. non-objective judgments from people in the past. And we're using opinions from people from the past to justify opinions now, which determine reality. But opinions are not reality. Reality is reality.
And recruiting rankings are based on the evaluators at 24/7 Sports, at On3, and not the coaches.
Recruiting rankings are also based on, are going to be more prominent in areas of the country like the South, where high school football is a bigger deal and people go and recruit more. Like the
reality
kid that grew up in Minneapolis
yes.
and is a dog in Minneapolis might be a 3-star because he grew up in Minneapolis. But that kid goes to Minnesota, and it doesn't mean he's any less dangerous than the 4.5-star, 4-star, whatever guy that's at A&M.
Because like, and then like On3 and 24/7, who I think are the two best that do recruiting rankings. If there is a 3-star kid in somewhere in the state of Georgia, and all of a sudden Kirby Smart gives him a scholarship offer, and then Billy Napier gives him then he's going to go up to a 4-star. Like that's just how that works. Because if Georgia is evaluating this kid as a scholarship offer worthy kid, then he must be better than what we have him. And so, but if Illinois finds the kid first and they offer him, he's sticking a 3-star. He ain't moving. And so there's a lot of stuff there.
So, but I will say, like, I say all this, I am more excited about college football now than ever before, because you like, Illinois is not supposed to beat the number 12 ranked South Carolina or whatever. Like, Illinois is not supposed to be in those games. You're not supposed to see the Big Ten legitimately going toe to toe with the SEC, where right now it feels like the titles for the national championship are Big Ten teams. And it could be a second straight year of a Big Ten team winning the college football playoff. And that just means that this power imbalance that has existed for so long that you talked about, that exists even within this 12-team format, is going to continue to be spread out. Because if Penn State can contend for a national title, why can't Illinois? Why can't Nebraska? Why can't Minnesota? If Arizona State can go toe-to-toe with Texas, who goes to the Final Four in the college football, if Arizona State can do it, why can't Colorado? Why can't Nevada? Why can't?
Here's the problem with the Penn State and Texas thing is, I think of teams that have lost and teams still alive, I think if Tennessee, Oregon, Texas and Penn State, like if Tennessee and Oregon had the two paths that Texas and Penn State had, they would both be in the semifinals.
Possibly, yeah.
Because Tennessee and Oregon both got
judge with Texas to me. Because I actually think Arizona State is better than people think they are.
There was that game should have been over so much earlier.
True, but I was like, that Arizona State
to get back into it.
That Arizona State team was playing really good football all the way down the stretch. See, I think you're guilty of this a little bit. I think you're guilty of this.
Quinn Ewers kept Texas from blowing them out. And because right?
Like, sure.
And then all of a sudden he made the blow. I think Tennessee would beat Clemson. I think Tennessee would beat Arizona State. Just like I think Oregon would beat Clemson and Arizona State. I think Tennessee would beat SMU.
Like, I think Tennessee Arizona State is a really good game.
Probably, yeah. But I still think Tennessee wins that game. Like, and that I think is the problem with, and I also think Penn State would have gotten crushed by Ohio State in either the Tennessee spot or the Oregon spot.
Penn State played Ohio State, though, did they not?
Huh? Penn State did? Yeah, they lost to Penn State at home and did not score an offensive touchdown.
What was the score? Because Penn State's defense is really
20 to 10, maybe
20 to 13. So one score game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but again, it was at Penn State, and
they were down 14-10 at halftime. They lost 20 to 13.
Yeah, right. But we just saw Oregon beat Ohio State in Autzen Stadium in Eugene, and then that mattered zero.
Well, but Penn State's in the conversation for different reasons, though. Penn State is a dominant defense.
My point is, Texas and Penn State got a great path to the semifinals, and they took advantage of it. Sure. I think any of the other teams, any of the other Power 4 teams that had that path that were at large teams, I think Indiana is more likely to beat Clemson or SMU and make it one step further, but the seeding didn't allow that to happen.
If Penn State beats Georgia, I want it. If the national title game ends up being Big Ten on Big Ten, I need an apology on the show for all from you and from all the Big Ten haters out there.
I'm not a Big Ten hater.
You've been kind of a Big Ten hater.
I'm not a Big Ten hater.
I'll pull up the receipts.
I was an Indiana doubter, and I'd been a Penn State doubter until the Big Ten
and an Ohio State doubter.
I don't.
After Ohio State lost to Michigan, there was a lot of Ohio State doubt.
Yeah, but I just literally put a nice little bet on when Ohio State was plus 140 to win the national championship mid first quarter. You bet your ass I boosted that thing on BetMGM and made it even better.
There we go. All right. I'm happy. At least you're making money off it. I don't even know if we have time for trivia anymore.
We do. We can get through trivia fast. We can't just skip trivia the first day.
I'll pull it up. People have been waiting for it.
Trivia time. Here we go. It is our first trivia of 2025. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Take advantage of what they have to offer there in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Sam, trivia time. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, here we are. A little daily dozen trivia for us. We start with the NFL. Hey, we got college football back on the grid. That's
all right. MLB.
Yeah. So you just want to go start with the NFL and go down and across
this way.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
What is that, counterclockwise?
After winning MVP at the 1999 Sugar Bowl, this wide receiver became a Cardinals first-round pick and led the NFL with 1,598 receiving yards in 2001.
Oh, wait.
I don't think I have this one.
Winning the MVP in the 99 Sugar Bowl, first-round pick wide receiver.
It's not Larry Fitzgerald.
No, Larry Fitzgerald was 2004.
Yeah.
It's also not. It's not Anquan Bolden either. He was later.
No, he's later.
Who the heck is this? David Boston.
Is that the other?
Yes,
is that what we're
that
thinking?
because David Boston. Yes.
Ooh, wow. Okay,
yes.
I would not have had
Anquan Bolden was a second-round pick.
State capital of Alaska is Juneau.
Yep.
Television. Drew Barrymore played a mom who begins to crave human flesh after being cursed in this Netflix horror comedy from 2017 to 2019.
No clue. No idea.
Yeah, no clue here.
No idea. Santa Clara Diet from D.
Santa Clara.
Christoffel. I've never heard of that.
Santa Clarita Diet?
Santa Clarita
Sure.
Diet.
There we go. Movies.
Okay.
Nia Vardalos wrote and starred in this 2002 romantic comedy that grossed over $350 million against a $5 million budget and later got 2 sequels. Is this My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Maybe. I don't know who Nia is.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Irish rock band, multiple times on the Billboard Hot 100, break even, Hall of Fame, nothing in the first time. I believe that's the script, right?
Beats me.
Yeah. Snacks and candy. Candy bar comes in a white wrapper with its name in orange print and is salted peanuts.
Payday.
These are good. I like paydays.
I love paydays.
MLB. Craig Kimbrell has totaled over 100 saves for 2 different franchises.
Ooh, can I answer?
Yes.
Is it the Dodgers?
No.
Oh.
Boston.
Ah.
He's played for like 6 teams, but spent a lot of time in Boston. Tim Tebow's final collegiate game was a 51-24 win over this undefeated Big East school in the 2010 Sugar Bowl.
Ooh, I want to say.
I have a guess.
You have a guess?
I think it's Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, I was going to go Cincinnati. Yeah,
because I remember when they had their undefeated year and got in, there was like a
or is it? Jake says Louisville, but I'm pretty sure it's Cincinnati.
Now
Jeff says West Virginia. West Virginia is a good
Miami.
one too. It's not
We are
Miami.
all over the place.
Miami was already in the ACC. I'm pretty sure Cincy.
Okay.
Because this was Brian Kelly's last Cincy year before he went to Notre Dame.
Okay. The inside is Mark Cuban.
Yep. Somebody's got to know that tattoo and beard combo.
I think it's Adam Levine.
With the blonde hair?
Yeah, like a bleached version of Adam Levine.
I don't know.
The butterfly, I feel like, would make sense. But Travis Barker, I don't know.
It's not Eminem.
No, that's not Eminem.
Somebody, Jeff said Eminem. Yeah, Matt says Adam Levine. And so does Caleb.
This looks like the Voice era, like bleached hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is his neck and
Travis
his
Barker
chin.
is the tatted drummer, who I think it also could be, but I don't know.
That's not Eminem. The jaw is not it.
No, it's definitely
I think it's Adam Levine.
Okay.
Orlando's going Travis Barker though.
The jawline looks like Adam Levine.
I'm with you. Yeah.
That pointy jaw.
Got it. Okay.
All in the new year with a perfect trivia.
Positive start for 2025 trivia. Positive. I like that quite a bit. Okay. All right. So that's it for us. Great first show of 2025. And we're going to have a good year too. Sam, East and I did this the last show of 2024. Highlight of the year.
For what?
For you.
I mean, Survivor was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to beat.
Yeah. I figured that was going to be the answer. I guess because you got engaged in 23.
Yeah.
So you have an easy answer.
I got 3 easy, like a 23 engagement, easy answer. 24 Survivor, there we go. 25 wedding, easy answer.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So and then 2026.
Who knows?
First anniversary. That's your answer.
No.
Yes. That's your answer.
I'm striving for something sick to happen in 2026.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're already jumping to see what 2026 is going to be. All right, guys, that's it for us. Make sure you hit that like button. You also give us that 5-star Google review on Google too. Shout out Lou Man for boosting up the Google ratings after he tried to tank us as a company. But anyway, like the show. More Titans content coming out. Easton and I will wrap up the week tomorrow on a Friday before we go into the last game of the regular season. Thank goodness. Hit that like button. We'll catch you guys later on. A2ZSports.com/Titans for all of Sam, Easton, and Buck's content. And Buck will be live tonight for primetime. Appreciate it as always. Catch you tomorrow.